What would you do if you had to do something nice for someone you really didn't like? Coming up next, right here on The Right Stuff. You are listening to the best, the only place to be on Tuesday night. That's right, you're listening to The Right Stuff, and you're at the right place at the right time. From England to Canada, from Detroit to the Poconos, we are showcasing Christian authors worldwide, giving you tips, tools, techniques, and resources for you, the writer, to hone and perfect your craft. Tune in every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time right here on WPJC 104.5. And your host, Parker J. Cole. Hi, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stuff. I am so glad you're able to join me this evening. We're going to have a wonderful time as we talk about doing something nice for someone you really don't like. And I wonder if we've all been in that situation before, maybe circumstances or maybe a particular edict from someone of authority may have caused us to do something nice for someone we didn't like. So how do we get past that? How do we knit together? In particular, we'll be talking to my guest co-host and contributor today, Vivian Kaye. She is the author of the new novella, Knit Together. And Knit Together is a wonderful, wonderful story. And it's about a woman whose best friend is a man named Logan. He marries a lovely lady named Alina. But she doesn't really like Alina. That's his wife, but she really doesn't like him, like her, like his wife. But what happens is he asks her for an impossible thing, and she has to decide whether or not she's going to do something nice for a woman she doesn't really like. So if you want to weigh in on our topic, you certainly can by calling in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air, or you can hit me on Twitter at Parker J. Cole, #RightStuff, with your questions and comments. We're going to go ahead, take a quick short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guests on the Right Stuff Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Are you a reader looking for more compelling Christian fiction? Maybe something a little more edgy or a bit more real? Are you tired of most Christian fiction shying away from the truth and settling for a rose-tinted view of the world and its issues? Or are you an author who has a compelling story to tell, but you're afraid it doesn't jive with today's brand of Christian or secular fiction? Are you tired of Christian publishers telling you that your content is too edgy? Or maybe you've tried submitting your content under the radar to secular publishers only to be told your themes are a bit too religious. We invite you to take a look at the Crossover Alliance. We are an online publishing company that specializes in edgy Christian speculative fiction with Christian themes and real-world content. Our company is formed from authors and readers just like you who are breaking into the mainstream and Christian markets with this compelling genre. Head over to the www.thecrossoveralliance.com for all the details on who we are, what we do, and what we accept. Right now, if you sign up for our email newsletter, you'll receive a free digital copy of our first short story anthology. Check us out today and help us spread the word about the Crossover Alliance, where light shines brighter in the darkness.
Have you read the latest issue of SORMAG Digital, the award-winning literary magazine for multicultural readers and writers? SORMAG Digital is available quarterly and showcases interviews with the best authors in multicultural literature. SORMAG Digital features craft and business articles for those interested in writing. If you're looking for a good book, check out our book reviews on what's hot in multicultural literature. For writers looking for new readers to get in front of, SORMAG Digital is the perfect place to introduce your book. We offer advertising spaces that fit your promotional budget. Get your free subscription on SORMAG.com or order a print issue on MagCloud.com. If you would like more information about SORMAG Digital, check us out on SORMAG.com or contact us at SORMAG@yahoo.com. SORMAG Digital is the magazine for multicultural readers and writers.
Hi, friends. I'm Dr. Mike Spalding, inviting you to listen to great Bible teaching on the Transforming Word radio show and podcast. All shows are available on iTunes and Stitcher. Search for the Transforming Word and subscribe for notification of new shows. You may also listen to every episode from my website, www.thetransformingword.com. In addition to the Transforming Word, I want to make you aware of my interview, news, and opinion show, Soaring Eagle Radio. If you're interested in engaging conversations related to a variety of topics not covered by typical news media, then check out Soaring Eagle Radio. You may subscribe to the show on iTunes and Stitcher, and you may listen to every episode on my website, www.soaringeagleradio.com. For more information on my ministries, please email me, Pastor Mike, at cclohio.com. Again, that's Pastor Mike at cclohio.com. Thank you for listening to these shows, and please leave me a note when you do. God bless you today.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff. Hi, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff here on WPJC 104.5. Again, I am so glad you are able to join me for this edition of The Right Stuff. Like I said before the break, we'll be talking about doing something nice for someone you don't like. I know that's hard for a lot of us. But before we get into that topic, I just want to invite you to take part in something that's really good, which is always supporting our authors. Authors do a lot of work to bring you great creative works for you to enjoy, whether it's in speculative fiction, romance, mystery, horror, whatever it is. We're always here to give you great books to read. So don't forget to support your local authors in your neighborhood or within your online community. It's always so important to support them. And as always, I want to invite you to read my books, The Sins of the Flesh series, Many Strange Women, The Other Man, as well as Vengeful Vows, which all came out one after the other, year after year. I've just released my first sweet romance called The Cure, which is available on Amazon.com. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can get a copy of that. I'm also offering a free giveaway on Goodreads. If you want to get a 1 in 5 paperback copies of The Cure, you can simply enter the giveaway on Goodreads. I'm really excited about The Cure. It was a little bit different for me to write, a little deviation from my usual edgy Christian romantic fiction works that I've done, but it's such a great exercise to always stretch your brain there and stretch your mind there. And so those of you who like fantasy, you can also enjoy my fantasy books. It's under the name of Parker Payne, and I told you before on the show that I wrote under Parker Payne to honor my grandmother, who taught me how to read and to write. And that book is called The Druid Spear, part of the Ascent of the Gem Bearers, book 1. The second one will be coming out this year. I'm really excited about that. So a lot of stuff going on with your girl Parker J, and I'm so glad that you have been with me the entire time. I always so thankful that as we go into our 4th year of bringing you Christian authors worldwide, I can't help but think how our network has grown. We now have several shows under our belt. We have Deborah with Dovetails with Deborah on Sundays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the Marriage Playbook Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. If you are in a marriage relationship or any relationship at all, you're going to enjoy the Marriage Playbook as Eric and Fran coach you through games each week to help you get and strengthen your marriage. And that's from Mondays at 7 to 9 here on WPJC. And then Let's Talk About It with Jenny White is a wonderful show that discusses the special needs community, the special needs movement. This week, they're going to have police officers on the show. And I can't wait to hear that, because a lot of us want to know, what are police thinking when they may do some harm to a special needs person that we all know in our lives, and how should they react to that? You'll have a chance to ask those kind of questions on the Let's Talk About It with Jenny White show. That airs Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on WPJC 104.5. We're always looking to expand and do more, so I'm looking forward to what the year will bring with the good Lord as He blesses us. We're going to go ahead and take another quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking to our guest co-host and contributor today, Vivian Kaye. She is the author of the new novella, Knit Together. And let me tell you, this book packs a wallop. It's very affordable on Amazon.com, but it is such a small book, but when you read it, you felt like you've read an entire lifetime throughout the whole book. It's a fascinating read. It really talks about what our motivations are when we do things. Do we really mean what we say? And then when we get into the nitty-gritty of this book, it's going to be a really fun ride. So you definitely want to stay in for that conversation. You can call in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air. Or you can hit me on Twitter at ParkerJCo or PJC Media, #RightStuff, with your questions and comments. We're going to go ahead and take a quick short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guest on the Right Stuff Radio Show. We'll be right back.
God gives humans the gift of making amazing stories to glorify Him. At SpeculativeFaith.com, our ministry is to help fans explore fantasy, science fiction, supernatural stories, and beyond from an intentional and biblical Christian perspective. We share daily articles and have extensive archives tackling hot topics like end times beliefs, the art of writing, creative excellence in the Christian subcultures, discernment, sex, magic, Harry Potter, and space aliens and the Bible. If you are a parent or anyone else with a discriminating palate, our reviewers explore fantastical novels, movies, television, and games in light of God's beauty, goodness, and truth. Want to find Christian stories? The Spec Faith Library lists every fantastical novel we can find from a Christian author. It's all part of our mission to discern, engage, and enjoy fantastical human creativity in honor of our Creator, Jesus Christ. SpeculativeFaith.com, exploring fantastical stories for God's glory.
Engaging the culture's imagination through speculative fiction, the Untold Podcast produces audio fiction from a Christian worldview. Find us over at untoldpodcast.com, where we partner with authors to tell science fiction, fantasy, supernatural, and horror stories. Find links at untoldpodcast.com to subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, and a variety of other platforms. Each month we produce high-quality audio fiction that's free to download and free to listen. Our submissions are open, and we're always looking to add another great story to over 24 hours of narrative entertainment. Find all of our audio fiction over at www.untoldpodcast.com.
Authors, are you looking for a new way to get your book in the hands of new audience, of targeted buyers? Then a virtual book tour is for you. Right now, virtual book tours is an excellent opportunity for you to introduce your book and who you are as an author. Launching your book is very important. A virtual book tour will connect you with readers. We at WNL, we specialize in book tours, book blasts, radio tours, cover reveals, and Facebook chat. Promoting and marketing your book is what we do. Online publicity, the exposure and the publicity is what you need. Let us help you reach new readers and a new audience. We take care of everything so you don't have to. We set up the tour for you. We connect you with bloggers to advertise your book by way of interviews, guest posts, and reviews. If you are an author of a newly published book, have an upcoming release, or just want to give a previously published book new life, a virtual book tour is your answer. Check our tours out at www.wnlbooktours.com. Visit me on Facebook. I am the owner, Paulette Harper.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff. Hi, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff here on WPJC 104.5. Again, so glad you are able to join me today for this edition of The Right Stuff. We are talking about the new novella, Knit Together by Vivian Kaye. And let me tell you, Vivian Kaye really put her foot in this book when she wrote it. It's a short book, but by the time you finish it, you would have sworn you probably read War and Peace. That's how much stuff is going on in this book, and it's a wonderful book. You will not be disappointed when you buy this book. Go ahead and get a copy of this book today on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. Make sure you leave a review, because I know authors really appreciate reviews. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest co-host and contributor, Vivian Kaye. Vivian, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And I am so glad you took time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. Let me tell you, I am so excited to talk about your new novella and some of the other tangent issues that go along with that book, because that book is not a novella. It's a novel wrapped up in short paper. That's all that novella is. It's just absolutely phenomenal. So I want to have a chance to really dig down deep and dirty into the book. So before we do that, I want people to know who you are in your own words.
Okay. So my name is Vivian Kaye. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I am also a therapist. I counsel with children from the ages of 5 to 17. The first of 5 children, I live in Ontario, Canada, but I was born in Nigeria, which is in West Africa. I love to cook. I love to sing and dance, and I definitely love to write.
Well, I can definitely tell that you love to write and cook because when you read Knit Together, all that is kind of infused into the pages, especially some of the recipes, such as pepper soup. I wanted to try it. I just wanted to try it so bad. I was like, that sounds so good. I could taste the spice almost. I was like, that's going to sound good. I've had Nigerian food before, but not a lot. So I'm really looking forward to eventually exploring that cuisine, which I'm pretty sure has some great recipes and food there. So, this is the second time you've been on the show, Vivian. Again, I'm so glad you are here. What's been happening since the last time you were with us?
So the last time I came, or my first time, was to promote Secret Places, which was my debut novel. And life has suddenly been interesting since then. So when I said with Knit Together, my intention was to do a full novel, and then the characters just were not compliant. And so eventually when I decided I was going to make it into a shorter story, that was when they kind of came on board with me. So right now I'm working on a sequel to Secret Places, which will take my characters, so that book is set in Canada, which will take my characters back to Nigeria and for a visit. And I've also decided to expand on the story in Knit Together in a full novel. So life has been busy. I work full time, 9 to 5 every day, and I also have 3 kids, 2 teenagers and 1 10-year-old who thinks he's a teenager. So life is definitely been very busy for me. So I'm very grateful for all the opportunities I've had since the last time I came, on your show.
You got a little scratchy toward the end, so if you just come closer to your mic, that'll be great. But looks like you've been busy working on, sequel to Secret Places, working on expanding Knit Together, which I think it's phenomenal. But and I'm so hoping, because I want to revisit these characters again. I mean, they really leapt off the page. I could almost see this as a Hallmark movie. I could totally almost see it as a Hallmark movie. That's how rich and detailed and good this book was. I could see it as a Hallmark movie, or if not a Hallmark movie, half hour on Lifetime. I mean, I could totally see this being just a really great book to turn to a film or turn to some kind of media, because I think its message goes out to everybody. And so with that in mind, I kind of want to get into some of your thought processes. And before I do that, when I saw the cover of Knit Together, it instantly resonated with me because it shows 2 knitting needles and some yarn. And I'm a knitter, and I know what Knit Together means, how you take 2 different stitches, just basically your 2 basic stitches with this knit and purl, and you create all these wonderful complex patterns with it. And you create sweaters, clothes, scarves, hats, coats. You can do so many things with just these 2 basic stitches, the knit and purl stitch. And then I saw how it all wove together with Knit Together. So go ahead and tell me, what was the genesis of this idea when you first sat down to write? What was the genesis? What was the spark plug that went on for your light bulb?
Okay. For me, when I write the stories, usually there's a scripture that inspires it. And for this story, it was Psalm 139:13, which says, "For you created my innermost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb." And that was where, and usually when I have the scripture, that's what informs the book cover. And so when I had that scripture, and I thought, okay, this is what that was the scripture for the book. And so when I went looking for book covers, I wanted to find something that would tie in with that. And when I saw that image, I was like, this is perfect. I don't knit. Funny enough, I don't knit, but my mother-in-law does, and I see her. She starts and she creates all these beautiful things and shawls and baby hats and all that. But I like the process of seeing when the wools, and there was some other thing about the things in the book, I don't want to give it away, that had to do with strands. And so that also was important to me in coming up with that image, because I wanted the image of something being put together and something being created almost out of something ordinary, like just have wool, but like you said, something beautiful comes out of it. So
that's true. That's true, especially when you use that particular verse and how, the Lord is very much aware of who we are before we even know who we are. He recognizes our purpose before we even have the idea to even think about our purpose. He knows. He said, "I've knit you together in my mother's womb." I mean, he already knows it. And it's kind of just makes your head just
expand when you think about it, that he knows all this before we even had an idea about it, which I really appreciate, especially as I get older and really learn to depend on the Lord for all of my needs. It really does something to you. And so one thing that I like about this book, it's its brevity, because you're saying a lot about this book like a short amount of time. It's not a lot to go through. You're not going through a massive tome of work, even though it feels like it. I mean, so many things happen in this book that, you know, you feel like you've read, you know, a tome of a huge work. And I know that you say you just kind of couldn't go forward with like the full novel, so just kept it short. And I think sometimes authors, in an effort to try to make a big work, they forget that sometimes good things come in small packages. Wouldn't you agree?
I do agree. I do. And I think when I freed myself with that, I was like, and the funny thing is, brevity has not always been, how I put, a strong attribute of mine, because when I talk, I talk a lot. And I talk and talk and talk. People always say, get to the point, get to the point. And so I've had to work on that, on being able to communicate in just in a concise way. And so I was very thankful by the time I finished this novel, and I thought, okay, was it too short? Will it be able to capture what I wanted to say? And so I'm very grateful when I get feedback and say, yes, it did. So definitely, if I think write a story in the number of words that you need. The characters will tell you. They will tell you what how many words you need. So just make it, because you just want to keep people engaged. And so I'm thankful how everything turned out.
I could really see this book being a number in the first in a number series of, if you go do a small books or large books, I think I could see just a number of them, because so many different characters jump out at you. Even the secondary characters just came out at you, and they had their own personalities. I especially love Bongi. I love Archie Bond. I like his character. I say, he did try. I like Archie Bond. I couldn't pronounce her sister's name. Was it Exora? I couldn't pronounce her. Exora. I liked her name, which is absolutely beautiful. And so you got a lot of multiculturalism going on in this story. I know I have been a big advocate for multiculturalism, especially in Christian fiction, because it allows us to see different cultural views in different ways. And I could tell the spice of Nigerian, South African, West African. I could see all these beautiful nuggets of multiculturalism throughout the book. And I really think that gave it a nice flavor to the book, because it's not cookie cutter contemporary Christian romance. It's a multicultural romance with different characters, different ethnic groups, all woven throughout the story. And I especially liked how that flavor of it is predominant throughout the book. When it comes to multiculturalism in Christian fiction, do you think more and more people are searching for that unique flavor of multiculturalism, whether it's, Nigerian, West African, Asian, whatever it is? Do you think readers, especially those of Christian fiction, are looking for that type of thing?
I think so, because there's something about being able to see yourself in the story and think, okay, you know what? So seeing, okay, this person who looks like me, who's had similar experiences to me, who has a similar background to mine, went through this issue, and they were able to, go through it. And because I think who we are in terms of our personalities affects how we deal with things of faith, of how we reach out to other people, how we process our issues. So I think it's important for people to see themselves in books, whether it's Christian fiction or general fiction. Whatever it is good for you to see yourself and say, you know what, yeah, so this book can speak to my condition. So it's not somebody. So I can empathize with the characters. I can understand where they're coming from. So I definitely think it's important.
I think so too, and I think you made a good point there. That is important to see yourself in books, especially when the readers are changing. Readers are more multicultural. Like I said some time ago in an article I wrote, by another article I read, by 2050, especially in the U.S., most of the U.S. will be, biracial. So who are going to be the readers then? What are they going to be reading? That. And so I really like that that multicultural flavor you had, and I like how you mixed it all up together. Now, did you ever work on a cruise ship? Because the beginning of the book starts off with Marigold and a cruise ship. Have you worked on a cruise ship before? Because there was stuff I didn't even know about when I was reading the book. I was like, wow.
No, I didn't. I just went on a cruise. That was 2 years ago. My brother-in-law had his birthday, and so we went on a cruise for his surprise birthday party for him. And for me, anytime I have any experience and I go somewhere, I always ask questions. I like to talk to the workers and just say, hey, tell me, what's your life like on a and I can't even swim. So I was really apprehensive about going. But I kept thinking, my Lord, how am I going to do this? How is it going to feel? And I really enjoyed it. It was a week cruise, and I would love to go back in a heartbeat. So I always had, when I was on the cruise ship, I would talk to different people, and so I always had in the back of my mind that one day I was going to write a story about somebody who was either on a cruise ship or something. And when this story came up, I had enough life experience that I could go back and find some of the information that I had. And I also I found different websites about what it felt like walking on a cruise ship. And so the internet is a blessing when it comes to research, the book research. So I can go and read about. I found a lady who had walked on a cruise ship. She had kept a diary on a blog. So I was able to go back and read her diary and just to have that experience of what it felt like. So I always say when people ask me, oh, I want to be a writer, I always say, you know what, just live life. Life will give you material for your stories.
Yes.
So live life. Just don't stay at home and thinking, okay, I'll just put myself in an office and lock my door and go and live life. That's how you're going to get material for your story. So, yeah, so that was how the cruise ship thing came about.
And we are just having a wonderful time talking to Vivian Kaye. She's the author of the new novella, Knit Together, which is available online on Amazon.com. Very affordable. Go ahead and get a copy of this book. Read it. You're going to love it. Let me tell you, you're absolutely going to love it. It's a very quick read, but it does pack a wallop. So be prepared to be amazed, as someone once said. If you got any questions, call in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air. Or you can hit me on Twitter at Parker J. Cole or PJC Media, #Right Stuff, with your questions and comments. We're going to go ahead and take a quick short break. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guests on the Right Stuff Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Engaging the culture's imagination through speculative fiction, the Untold Podcast produces audio fiction from a Christian worldview. Find us over at UntoldPodcast.com, where we partner with authors to tell science fiction, fantasy, supernatural, and horror stories. Find links at UntoldPodcast.com to subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, and a variety of other platforms. Each month we produce high-quality audio fiction that's free to download and free to listen. Our submissions are open, and we're always looking to add another great story to over 24 hours of narrative entertainment. Find all of our audio fiction over at www.untoldpodcast.com.
Autism affects 1 in 68 children, sweeping all racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups. Autism is a lifelong brain disorder that leads to untold challenges to the physical, financial, and social well-being of people with autism and their families. Resources are stretched thin. The Autism Alliance of Michigan, a collective voice for families across the entire state, uses resources to help families battle challenges right here, right now. If you or anyone you know needs help navigating the autism journey, contact the Autism Alliance of Michigan today, 877-463-AAOM, or visit them online at aaomi.org.
Question: if you write a book, everybody will rush out to buy it. Obvious answer: no. If you were a celebrity or if you had a huge marketing budget, then maybe you can get a lot of exposure for your book. Another solution would be to check out joeytweets.com. JoeyTweets.com is a promotion and marketing service with access to over 1/3 of a million followers on Twitter. JoeyTweets.com has 3 packages available to fit any budget. That's JoeyTweets.com. JoeyTweets.com. Get some serious exposure for your books.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff. Hi, welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff here on WPJC 104.5. So very glad you are here with me today as we talk about Vivian Kaye's Knit Together. It's a novella that just released. Go ahead and get a copy of that book today. It is guaranteed to just surprise you, make you think, and just a wonderful, thought-provoking read. So go ahead and get that today on Amazon.com. Again, Knit Together by Vivian Kaye. You know, Vivian, one of the things that you discuss in here is a hot, spicy topic, and that's surrogacy, okay? And surrogacy is, I think, a very interesting option for people who want to have children and who can't have children of their own. And personally, I have my own thoughts about it, but it's always good to see all sides to it. And so I was wondering, what in the world had you put these two things together? You know, someone you don't like, and then your best friend says, would you be our surrogate mother? How do you do that? How do you just clash those two things together like that?
I honestly, I wish I could tell. I just thought about it. I'm like, okay, what? Because I think it's that thing of you when you create more conflict in the story, then it takes you kind of make your characters rise to the occasion, and then they have to like. So I just thought about, because I mentioned before, I'm a counselor, I'm a social worker, and I'm a big advocate of adoption, and I believe that every child deserves to be a part of a family. And I believe that there are different ways for people to get their families. Like if you're not able to have children, doesn't mean that, if you want to adopt or if you want to explore surrogacy, that it should be an option to you. And I wanted to explore and think, okay, so for someone who, how far would you go to help a friend? If someone is your friend and they have this need, what are the things that you would, and then also, exploring how we can't buy redemption. We can't buy our own salvation. That we can't do good works. That good works are not what is going to. If you feel, well, I need to redeem myself. That if I'm doing something good, then that's going to be enough to redeem myself. So I wanted to explore those two things because, in a way, this was a good deed surrogacy. So that was what led Marigold to say yes. So it wasn't just a selfless act. It had a selfish component to it. And so that was also what I wanted to explore, to say, okay, when we do things and we say, okay, to other people it seems as if we're doing it just for just because we're being good. But if we're not doing it for the right reason, sometimes, things might come back and bite us. And so I think it was a mixture of all those things that led me to come up with that plan.
Let me tell you, it really knotted up my stomach as I read this story because I said, what starts to happen is that she already had like well, I won't give it everything. I almost gave it a lot of the, not a lot of the pop. I want our listeners to really get this book because, like I said, it's a short book, but there's so much going on in that. But I had to get some of our supporters and our listeners, I had to get some of their thoughts on this. And one of the questions that I sent out to our listeners was this. I said, basically, our main character has to decide she will be a surrogate mother for her best friend, and she doesn't like his wife, but they're unable to have children. So the question I sent to our listeners, I said, this brings me to the question, should surrogacy be between people you don't know or people you do know, or is surrogacy a good option for childless couples? And I wanted to get our listeners' opinion. But before I do that, let me ask you that question in of itself. Should surrogacy only be between people you don't know or people you do? Because I think that will add a level of intimacy or no intimacy between the couple who makes that decision. So what do you think? Just in your own opinion, Vivian.
I think it depends on the couple who's looking for the child. Because I read different surrogacy stories while I was researching this book, and I had people where it was they were acting as a surrogate for their sister or even their daughter. I had there was a grandma who did it for her daughter because and so for them that was their right choice because then she was able to be part of the whole process. Unlike if it was a stranger, you can't just move into the stranger's house. You can't just. Stranger won't be accessible at all times. But if it's a family member, if it's a friend, there's more intimacy between you, so that way you can be part of the process more. So some people want it that way because then they feel like, it's so family, while some prefer that it's somebody that you're in Canada you can't even pay. You can't pay for someone to be a surrogate for you. But they want someone who's that way when the baby is here, then it's easier for them to cut ties with that surrogate because it was not a family member. Unlike if it was a family member who carried the baby for you, then they might feel some sort of attachment to the baby. So it depends on the couple. It depends on the couple who wants it, how much involvement can they handle. So I think that would be the key thing. Do they want to forget, like they want surrogates to just go away and forget that I was ever a part of the process, or is it somebody that child is going to continue seeing? I might get to know the story. Oh yeah, grandma carried me, or aunt carried me. So it depends on how much they can emotionally handle the situation.
Now, I know for myself, and I'm going to read some of the responses we got. I know for myself, I do not believe who I am at this moment in time if surrogacy would be something for me. Because I would hate to, for me, call me selfish. I totally admit I am. But I couldn't imagine another woman carrying my child. I'd rather carry my child or get an adoption. I just couldn't see myself. And this woman, I know this woman's carrying my baby. I couldn't. It would just do something for me because I will feel as if that belongs to me. I am that child's mother. Anything, because you can feel the baby moving and kicking and all that. No. For me, I am selfish. I want that experience for me. If I can't have that experience, I'm more than happy to adopt. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about it. But that's where I am today. Who knows where I will be in 10 years from now? Who knows? But I know that's where I am today. I don't ever say never because you never know what happens. So I never say never. But I wanted just to read a couple of responses that we received. Elaine from Sherman, Texas says, friends can become enemies quickly. However, a surrogate you do not know but comes highly recommended could become a friend. I don't think a woman should have a man best friend who is not her husband. I've seen this, and it can be quite messy. Elaine, thank you so much for your comment. Now, Vivian, she made a point that a woman should not have a man as a best friend. I honestly get where she's coming at, where Elaine's coming at. I don't necessarily agree with her because I know women who do have men as friends, But what do you think? Just based on what she said about the surrogacy, a friend, and then should women have a best friend, which is what Logan is to Marigold. That's her best friend. What do you think about that?
Well, personally, I think I wouldn't go. I'm kind of more with you. Like I wouldn't say a woman should not have a man best friend, a male best friend rather, because sometimes that's the person who's in your life. Circumstances happen. That's the person who's there for you. So if we become prescriptive about who should be, you might miss out on a very good relationship. But with all relationships, whether it's a female best friend or it's a male best friend, the issue is boundaries.
Yeah,
it's understanding as you guys go. Like let's say you're a childhood friends. As you grow older, as you evolve, as you go into relationships with other people, remembering that now it's not just your childhood friend where you're 12 and you guys share everything. Now you're adults and there are boundaries. So I think boundaries is a concept that's very important, whether it's a female best friend or it's a male best friend. Those boundaries are in place. They protect you. They protect the other person, and they make for a better relationship, I think.
Yeah, and I think so too, because especially if that best friend has been there longer than your spouse. I mean, all of a sudden you get married and you throw these people off to the side. I don't think that's right. Yes, you said boundaries. No. Any best friend would understand that. Any best friend, male or female for that matter, will understand, hey, we can't go out. Hey, we can't do this. Hey, we can't do that. They will obviously understand that. If they don't, that's wrong. Joanna from Rochester, Michigan says, spicy topic. It depends on the couple and their ties to their choice surrogate. Personally, for couples that can't have their own children, should adopt. There are too many kids that need love. It could very well be that the Lord deliberately caused the barrenness for adoption to take place anyway. Joanna, thank you for your comment. Vivian?
Well, yeah, like I said before, I'm a big advocate of adoption. And I my job, I see so many children staying in foster care for so long because, they can't, nobody wants older children for whatever reason. They have some challenges. And on the flip side, I do understand why people want to have, go with the surrogacy route because they want a baby that's theirs. So I know it's a very delicate thing that I'm just saying, people make, as a Christian, I say pray and make a decision based on what you feel God is leading you to do.
I think that's it too. I think that's what it is. You ask the Lord to help you make the best decision. I know, like I said, for where I am right now, surrogacy would not be what I want to do. It just wouldn't be what I want to do. I mentioned those reasons earlier. Sheila from Detroit says, that's a very hard question. Most people will think that the best friends had an affair. If she did not care for the wife, why would she even consider that? Adoption is not for everyone. I believe it takes a special person to consider adoption. And then she further goes, I would like to know the percentage data regarding surrogacy. If it's any research on how the couples choose a person to consider counseling involved. I believe a woman may be more ready to use surrogacy than a man. Sheila, thank you so much for that comment. Vivian, you want to respond?
I don't have that data, so I really don't know how people. I know people like when I was doing the research, their clinics. Some people find surrogates through their fertility clinics. So maybe they tried IVF and things are not going well. So the clinics might offer their websites that offer that or international. So I'm not sure about the data, but yeah. So but I think I just think people should get enough information about whatever option they want to try, and then just pray about it and decide and what the best option, because whatever you decide, it's for the long haul.
And what made Knit Together so wonderful for me was this fact that the woman didn't like his wife, but she's doing it, and it really does question our motivations why we do a certain thing. And I know you'd explore that through here, but it doesn't end there. And let me tell our listeners, once you get a copy of Knit Together, when I say the surrogacy is just one tip of the iceberg in this story, it is just one tip of the iceberg in this story. There is so much that goes on, and you can't believe that it's such a short novel because it has so much information, and I can't wait to see Vivian expand onto that. Now, one thing another listener or supporter mentioned, she said, I have seen ads for surrogates. Ricky from Oregon. Ricky says, I have seen ads for surrogates on FB promising payments of up to $40,000 to help a childless couple. Here in the Portland area, it focuses on gay couples have a baby. They usually want someone who has already brought at least one pregnancy to term, since there are so many things that can go wrong. But privacy, surrogacy situation, it might depend on the doctor. But since there is no genetic tie to the child, it is probably a safer method than adoption, where a bio parent can take back the rights within a set number of weeks or months, leaving the adopted parent's arms even more empty than before. Ricky, thank you so much for that comment. I don't know if you got the full comment, but basically she's saying there's been ads for, people to pay up to $40,000 for a childless couple. Yeah. And for that could be for gay couples who want to have children. And she also said that because it may be easier to have a surrogate who has no ties to the couple, because, that may make it easier for them. And so what will be your response to Ricky's comment?
Well, I do know there's some surrogates who do it for the money. For them, it's a business, right? It's not. It's to get $40,000. It's very you do it. Well, I guess it's still 9 months out of your life. But there's some people who see, well, that's and some people feel that's their calling. They feel their calling is, I'm helping other people who can't have children, bring children into the world. In Canada, you cannot be paid for surrogacy. You can They can reimburse you for some of your expenses, like maternity clothes, some kind of special foods or whatever, but you cannot. It's illegal here for you to be paid to be a surrogate. So,
that's fascinating.
Yeah. So, but there are no limitations around, they're buying you gifts. There's no limitation around that, but you cannot be paid for that. So that, I think that also makes it not as common as in the U.S. We're smaller anyway, because there are those limitations around who can, what the financial reimbursement is for being a surrogate.
That makes sense, because then it's more so of I want to do this because of XYZ. It's not more so because you're paying me to do it. And I would hate to think someone would be getting pregnant to make money. I don't know. See, that's where I'm so iffy on that. I could imagine I'm gonna pay taxes on getting pregnant several times a year. I can't. But those who do, y'all have fun. Y'all have fun with it. I know when I just get sick, I can't handle the pain. I mean, I'm not a very good. I don't have a high tolerance for pain. I don't have a high tolerance for, getting sick. I don't like it. So I don't know. But it's a very interesting topic, and that just continues to weave this story of knit together. Like I said in the broadcast, when it comes to knitting, there's only two stitches, the knit stitch and the purl stitch. But with these two stitches, you can create complex designs with sweaters, hats, scarves, baby blankets, booties, bibs, everything, with just these two basic stitches and how you manipulate them. And when we come back, we'll be hearing more from Vivian Kaye and her book and some of her other projects that she has going on. So stay tuned there. If you want to call in and weigh in, you certainly can by calling in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air. Or you can hit me on Twitter at Parker J. Cole or PJC Media, #RightStuff with your questions and comments. We're going to go ahead and take a quick short break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guests on the Right Stuff Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Have you read the latest issue of SORMAG Digital, the award-winning literary magazine for multicultural readers and writers? SORMAG Digital is available quarterly and showcases interviews with the best authors in multicultural literature. SORMAG Digital features craft and business articles for those interested in writing. If you're looking for a good book, check out our book reviews on what's hot in multicultural literature. For writers looking for new readers to get in front of, SORMAG Digital is the perfect place to introduce your book. We offer advertising spaces that fit your promotional budget. Get your free subscription on SORMAG.com or order a print issue on MagCloud.com. If you would like more information about SORMAG Digital, check us out on SORMAG.com or contact us at SORMAG@yahoo.com. SORMAG Digital is the magazine for multicultural readers.
Question: if you write a book, everybody will rush out to buy it. Obvious answer: no. If you were a celebrity or if you had a huge marketing budget, then maybe you can get a lot of exposure for your book. Another solution would be to check out JoeyTweets.com. JoeyTweets.com is a promotion and marketing service with access to over 1/3 of a million followers on Twitter. JoeyTweets.com has 3 packages available to fit any budget. That's JoeyTweets.com. JoeyTweets.com. Get some serious exposure for your books.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff here on WPJC 104.5. So glad you are here with me today to talk about Vivian Kaye's newest novella, Knit Together. It is available on Amazon.com. Very affordable. I think it's 99 cents even. You can get a copy of that today. And let me tell you, this book packs a massive wallop. You can't believe that something so short could have such a thought-provoking impact on you. When you read Knit Together, it's going to be hard to kind of categorize this book. You're not going to be quite sure, okay, what is this book? What category would it fit in? You actually say it won't fit into anything. The only thing possibly it could fit into would be the multicultural aspect, because there's a lot of multiculturalism within this book, which I dearly loved, and added such a nice flavor to the book. Again, go ahead and get a copy of Knit Together today. It is available on Amazon.com, and you can go ahead and get that today. It's in Kindle for $1.99. I'm sorry, not 99 cents. It's for $1.99. So very affordable. And like I say, you won't be disappointed when you pick up this book. Vivian, it's been so wonderful having you on the show today to talk about your book. And you've given us a lot of nuggets for life throughout the broadcast. One thing that you said, because people are always saying, I want to write a book. I want to write a book. And you said, you can have that desire to write a book, but you have to live life. She said, you have to experience life. If you like to travel, go ahead and travel. You'd be surprised what your travels will bring to you. If you want to, work your job or go ahead and do some volunteer work, whatever, go ahead and experience life, because by experiencing life, you'll have material for your books. One thing that Vivian mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I asked her, has she worked on a cruise ship? She said, no, I went on a cruise a couple of years ago. I talked to the workers, and she used that information from talking to the workers to write her book. And Vivian, I love cruises. I only went on one with my husband when we got married. That was a honeymoon cruise. But I loved the cruise. I absolutely love a cruise. I cannot wait to go back on one again. So you gave us a lot of nice nuggets for wisdom on this broadcast today. And so as we get ready to shut it down for the night, I want to know, what are some of your final thoughts about everything?
I'm always grateful when I get, I write a story and people read and enjoy it. I don't take that for granted because I know that money's tight and you have to choose what you invest your money in. So when people choose to invest their hard-earned money in me, I'm very grateful for that. And so when I write my stories, I try to write as best as I can because I want to give you some value for your buck. And so I never take that for granted. And I'm also very grateful for people like you who offer me the platform to talk about my stories, who introduce me to their audience. So I don't take that for granted as well. I definitely feel that this is my passion, that this is my gift. And so any way that I'm able to, I'm a Christian writer, so that is my faith is a big part of what I do. And so I always write stories that might not be cookie cutter Christian books in terms of, because my author tagline is imperfect characters made in a perfect God. So knowing that no matter where you are in life, no matter what your situation is, that God knows and He loves you regardless of that. And so you can't let that stand between you, not letting you move forward and coming to Him. So know that there's nothing, if there's anything that you can imagine that, you've done that you think has disqualified you, somebody else has done it before. And so just to come, be free, have that sense of freedom to come to Him and know that He's waiting for you. And so, so when I write, I pray throughout and say, Lord, please use this story to bless somebody. And so when I get feedback, I'm always like, okay, He did it. So if it's one person, two people, whatever the audience is, I pray that whatever story it is, it blesses them. So that's all I have to say. Thank you. I'm just very grateful to everyone who's ever bought any of my books, people who share the books with their friends. I just thank you, and I pray that whatever passion that you have, that God would give you the strength and the wisdom to be able to pursue it as well.
Go ahead and give us your social media online hookups. Okay,
so I'm on Facebook as Vivian K. Author. I'm on Twitter as Vivian K. Author as well, on Instagram, Vivian K. Author. I also have a website, viviank.com. I love to hear from my readers, so if you email me or send, I would respond. I love to hear from my readers. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter as Vivian K. Author. And I also have a contact page on my website. So,
Vivian, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here tonight on the show. Never do take it for granted when you have you. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, and have a wonderful evening.
We just finished talking with the wildly talented Vivian K. She is a wonderful author. You can get her books online on Amazon.com. We were showcasing her newest work, Knit Together, which is a novelette that you can get for $1.99 on Amazon. A short read, but let me tell you, it reads like a full-page, 500-page novel. And it's a wonderful read. Go ahead and get your copy today. Loving My Sister today. Get a copy of Knit Together today. And for her debut novel, we have Secret Places, which is also available on Amazon. Both of them are very good books. And if you want to follow Vivian K, she does love to hear from her readers. You can simply go to her website, viviank.com, or follow her on Twitter, Instagram at Vivian K Author, and on Facebook, she's Vivian K Author as well. You won't be disappointed. One thing that I liked about Vivian's book, Knit Together, is the fact that she uses a lot of things that we may really deal with in life. We may deal with trying to prove ourselves to someone in our life, like Mary Gold in her book is. We may be dealing with unrequited love, like one of our characters are dealing with. We may be dealing with childlessness when we want to have a baby and the Lord won't allow us to have a baby. We may be dealing with that. And with all these things that is in the book Knit Together, Vivian K weaves and threads a wonderful narrative that speaks to every one of us. Perhaps that's why it's so hard for me to categorize it, because you can't categorize life. Life is eddies and it flows. There's valleys and mountains. There's calm waters and stormy seas. You can't categorize life. Life is just life, and you simply learn to go with the flow and help the Lord to guide you through every step of the way. Let me tell you something. This show is always about encouraging authors to write. What are you doing with your talent that God gave you? Are you sitting on your talent, too scared to let your talent be seen by anybody? Are you looking at that story that's been on your desk for a year, 2 years, 10, like my first book was? Are you just letting it sit there and get moldy so no one can see it? One of our guests on our previous show named Michelle Simpson, she said this. She said, you never know what's on the other side of obedience. If God has given you that gift to write, go ahead and write. You'll never know who you will bless with your writing, whether it's speculative, whether it's romance, horror, whatever it may be. You never know how God will use you to bless someone else. So stop sitting there and looking at that blank piece of paper or that blank screen. Get up and write stuff. Thank you for joining me for this edition of The Right Stuff. Don't forget to follow our online network lineup. We have Deborah with Dovetails with Deborah Sundays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the Marriage Playbook with coaches Eric and Fran from 7 to 9 p.m. on Mondays. And then Let's Talk About It with Jenny White at 8 p.m. on Fridays. And don't forget to join me, your girl, on Tuesdays at 7 for The Right Stuff and the Parker J. Cole Show at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time right here on the best radio network in the land, WPJC Media. Thank you so much for being here. I'm the queen of Tuesday nights, Parker J., and you have a wonderful, absolutely glorious, blessed day. Thank you for joining us for this edition of The Right Stuff. Follow Parker online at parkerjcole.com. To hear this show and other shows, visit the show archive at therightstuffradio.wordpress.com. We'll be back same time next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.